It is about time, friendos. It is almost the end of 2023. We're gonna be having a year-end review of every single event that has gone on in 2023 for Arknights. We're gonna reminisce about the past, we're gonna reminisce about all these events, while also hoping for the future. So we're gonna be reacting to all of the events that happened this year, and to start things off, we are starting off with Lingering Echoes. We started 2023 with Lingering Echoes with Depressed Goat Boys, and we're also starting 2024 with the same event rerun, Depressed Goat Boys, to start the year all over again. It's been a long time since we had Lingering Echoes just injecting us with as much depression as it did. The story between Ebenholz and Kreide, I think it is definitely among the top stories in Arknights because it was a more personal thing that definitely highlighted our main characters and especially Ebenholz, and it was definitely the beginning of the Lithanian arc in Arknights. It was a grand opening in our introduction to Lithanian and everything going on with the Witch King and the Twin Empresses. We got so many interesting characters introduced in this game mode with one of our earliest altars in Hibiscus, and along with bringing Ebenholz into the fold. Ebenholz, who's grown into a competent operator nowadays, because when Ebenholz first came out, he was more or less on the bottom rung of many boss killers because of his kit. Ebenholz, I think eventually I might also use gold certs to pick up Ebenholz now that he's actually good. With his third module, he has a new niche in his elemental damage. He's now a very interesting character to work with and play with, and I can't wait when he comes back to the shop so I could actually get him. I missed out on him the first time, and I regret not having him now. Good times. Good times. These skins. When these skins first came out, I got the Flametail skins so fast. Gamer Flametail is one of my favorite skins of all time. We got a gamer skin for Kirara in this event, and then we also got one for Aosta. Then we got a Cyberpunk reference. Cyberpunk has also come a long way. This was when SSS first came out, at least the updated version, I think. Or was it the actual premiere? I'm not quite sure. We had our modules for Passenger and Scotty. It was definitely an event to remember, one to especially start the year with. It's been almost 1 year since we had Lingering Echoes. We started off the year with Depressed Goat Boys, and we're gonna do the same thing in 2024, when the rerun starts at the beginning of that year. After Lingering Echoes, we had our first limited event of the year, which was our summer event, which happens in January because of timing reasons for global. We had Ideal City Endless Carnival. It was our first introduction to Gaviel's Altar and also Durin Society. The soundtrack of this event was also pretty banging. Our summer events have always been the more lively events of the year because we have so many depressing stories in Arknights. These summer events are always great just to have a bit of levity. It also had a bit of depression on its own with Minimalists, of course. It didn't really have a big bad to fight. There was no big evil boss that they had to fight with. It was more of a man versus nature kind of thing to save Zeruetsa. And we also had the premiere of Posey, one of the strongest units to ever come to Arknights. This was the beginning of the massive power creep that was about to come later in the year, along with Gavial coming in, who is now one of the premium Centurion guards that we have for the game. It was the beginning of a new era for Arknights, where power was much more increased compared to older year operators. It was a pretty fun event. We had to fight on boats and shit. There were platforms that we could use. We got a lot of Coral Coast skins, fan favorite ones, especially with Elysium and La Pluma. It was one of the first times we got a live 2D skin for a non-limited operator, so they were definitely trying to milk us for that one, giving Surtur a new bikini skin, a live 2D bikini skin. And overall, the event was pretty fun. I think back on it now, because during the actual event itself, I felt disappointed by the story because I thought it wasn't as bombastic as I wanted it to be, but I think it was the right amount of levity that Arknights needed, especially considering the other events to come this year. Reminiscing is fun. We got our nostalgia goggles on, we forget that, hey, wait a minute, we're kind of missing something about this part of the year that we don't remember quite yet. Oh, we're gonna get there. Oh, we're gonna get there. So right after Ideal City, Trials for Navigator happened, which was our boss rush game mode that comes around every other time of the year. I don't remember much from Trials for Navigator 1. I remember the latter ones. I remember the second, but not 1. I don't even remember which bosses showed up for 1. Anyway, that was Ideal City Endless Carnival. Our summer event is less than a month away on Global, and I could finally have a chance to use 300 Spark with maybe Chen or Gavial, most likely Chen. After Trials of Navigator happened, we had Contingency Contract Season 10, Operation Ashring. Hell yeah, baby! Oh, this year was an era for CC. I think it had some of the best CCs we've ever had in Arknights. There were so many great events this year, most especially the soundtracks. Let's just listen to that. We're gonna miss these. We're gonna miss these so much, especially because the current season of CC isn't quite the same. But reminiscing about the older ones, holy shit, I forgot this one came out with the Thirsty Brocca skin. What the fuck? Oh my god. Operation Ashring, the beginning of some of the greatest CCs of all time. And so far it is bygone era of some of the best events in Arknights history, actually. Holy shit. Just reminiscing about it gives me chills. Okay, so that was that. I don't quite remember the map for Ashring. It's not that stuck in my head. So there's that. I'ma just move on. After Operation Ashring, we had To Be Continued. So To Be Continued was a mini event that happened to just continue a few of the dangling plot threads we had from previous events. It was a very welcome one, actually. These focused on side characters for many of the events, and I think that's one of the things that are great about Arknights. It really feels like the world of Arknights just expands horizontally instead of just vertically through main events. I've said this once before in a video that I think Arknights might be the One Piece of visual novels, in that the world just keeps getting more dense and wider the more stories that they put out, especially ones that don't involve main characters like Doctor and Amiya, especially with stories that involve side characters most of all to just flesh out the world, make you really believe that this is a living, breathing world with real people in them, with their own lives and motivations. And To Be Continued was definitely a breath of fresh air in just harkening back to all of these side characters that we had before and actually fleshing them out a bit more, because maybe they might have some more participation in coming chapters. So after this, we were in rerun season. We had Dossoles Holiday. It was a rerun of previous event that we had last year for summer. By summer, I mean January. Y'all already know how that goes. These summer events at least have great music. They bring levity to a very much depressing game. It was my first time actually doing Dossoles Holiday because I started Arknights right after Great Chief Gaviel's rerun. I never got to actually play the original event, so this was my first time doing this event and reading it. They did an okay job at Chen and Lin. I just think it's really funny now considering what we know from the anime about Lin, but I guess maybe you can consider that as a separate adaptation thing. So far, we have a lot of war criminals on Rhodes Island. I sort of just stopped caring as much that we have so many war criminals in Rhodes Island, especially Rat Princess. This event was the premiere of Chen the Hollanday. Who would have thought that a year ago, Chen would be the least of our worries in terms of game balance? She would be the least of our fucking worries. I don't even think much people use Chen anymore. That we have Milnar, Posey, so many other high DPS operators. I still have to get my J skin. My J is built up. I'm M6ing that man just for IS. I need his lifeguard skin eventually. We had so many different events this year going on. It's hard to remember all of them, but I do remember the vibe of these summer events. Yeah, this rerun was definitely fun, at least for me.